So let's talk about what depression is and isn't. Depression is more than a feeling of sadness. It's actually a serious mental health condition that leads to feelings of hopelessness and despondency. There are two different types of depression that are common to most caregivers. The first is reactionary depression, which is usually a temporary condition. With effort, a person can generally work through and recover from this type of depression. Now, clinical depression is different. Medication and other interventions, including counseling, are usually required for recovery. Now, let's talk about reactionary depression first. Reactionary depression is often a response to a difficult situation. It can be triggered by any number of events. It could come about as a result of getting a bad diagnosis, losing a job, having relationship troubles with a spouse, a child, or a friend, the death of someone you care about, and even the loss of a pet can trigger an episode of reactionary depression. It can also be a response to stuffing feelings such as anger and resentment and guilt rather than dealing with them. So, regardless of the event or circumstances that trigger an episode of reactionary depression, the emotional impact it's dramatic. It's awful. But here's the good news about reactionary depression. It is usually temporary, and it is possible to work through it on your own. There are some unique differences between the symptoms of reactionary and clinical depression, and there are also differences in the approaches and strategies for recovering from each type of depression. At the beginning of an episode of reactionary depression, it may be hard to motivate yourself to do anything. So it's okay to give yourself permission to just sit with your loss or heartache for a while. Give yourself time to feel and to heal. Whatever the event or circumstance that caused you to feel depression was real. Something or someone hurt or disappointed you, and it is appropriate to give it some time and thought so that you can gain a little distance and perspective. And then when you're ready, I would like to encourage you to try applying the 3 steps of creative indifference toward your experience. The first step is to become aware of what triggered your depression. Sit down with a pad or pen and go to your computer and write about it. What happened? Who was involved? How did it make you feel? The second step is acceptance, and this is the hardest step because you may have to accept that you do not have any power, authority, or ability to change the circumstances, including your care receiver's illness, the behavior of other people, or what the final outcome is going to be. So I'd like to suggest you start with accepting that being a caregiver is hard and that depression is not a failure on your part. It is a signal that something is terribly wrong and that it is time to focus on your own physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And that takes us to the third step, which is action. If you are experiencing reactionary depression and you want to work your way through it, try doing some of the things that have lifted your spirits in the past. You may find joy in music, whether it's listening to your favorite songs, playing an instrument alone, or making music with a choir or a band. Music can be a magical mood lifter. Maybe you could go visit a friend who will listen and support you. Just make sure it isn't someone who will judge you or tell you how you should or shouldn't feel. My go-to self-therapy is getting outside and going for a walk in nature. You might want to start a project, volunteer with an organization that you care about, join a caregiver support group, help someone who is in worse shape than you are, or set aside some quiet time each day for meditation or prayer. These are just a few of my suggestions, and if none of them are right for you, think about what you could do to shift your focus to something or someone else that would help pull you up out of your slump. What you do doesn't matter, but the why does. People who are depressed become more vulnerable to other physical ailments and diseases, so taking care of your mental health will also help you maintain your physical health. And recovering from an episode of reactionary depression requires determination and effort. And it may take some time, but you can come through it. One morning you'll wake up and you'll notice the sun is shining, and you'll hear yourself laugh, and you'll find pleasure in doing something small. And that's when you'll realize that your load is starting to feel a little bit lighter, and your world is starting to look a little bit brighter. And that's when you'll know that you are on the other side of a painful and difficult experience. You have come through it.